The cats aren't allowed out when he's out because they'll fight. Ricky? And smell?
Welcome back, nerds. Fino here with a servant guide for the angriest cat you've ever seen. Atalante Yalter. Well, that's what it says on the tin anyway. I prefer Atalanta. Or Yalter. Or Nekopara. You know what? Let's go with that. Nekopara's first skill is Self-Evolution, a single turn buff to star absorption that doubles as a star dump. It's only 10 stars, which is pretty weird considering Yalter's a vending machine. I guess if you get a Brave Chain on turn 1, it's kinda handy. Skill 2 is Beyond Arcadia. It's a single turn party-wide quick buff. Not ideal. Quick servants generally want 3 turners, but it gets the job done. Skill the third is Feral Logic. It's a single turn evade with a 3-turn crit damage buff. Honestly, I'd just pop this on turn 2 for most encounters. In my experience, Yalter has a lot more to worry about from being critted to death than NPs. It also lets you get extra mileage out of the crit buff since you'll want some real star action to really abuse it. Nekopara's noble phantasm is Tauropolos. It's a single target quick attack that applies NP seal. It also has a curse tied to overcharge, but the numbers aren't anything special. However, its main effects are more than sufficient, as we're about to see. As with most quick servants, Double Scotty turns Yalter into an engine of destruction. Scotty's quick buff and 50% charge donation let you spam your NP repeatedly over the first few turns, though it's worth noting Yalter isn't a true looper. Then again, you don't absolutely need to loop with Nekopara. The idea is that you nail someone with a huge Tauropolos and write off the resulting stars to fuck them up with crits. Now the abusable part comes when you're fighting enemies with break bars. A very standard retaliatory mechanic is for enemies to fully charge and immediately NP. Yalter can throw a spanner in the works with her NP seal, and if you get your damage right, you can do this for 2 break bars and bypass most of a fight's mechanics. It's not a foolproof plan. Some enemies have damage reduction phases and others cleanse as a part of their mechanics, but there's a good chance that if you throw Yalter Double Scotty at a fight, you can put a serious dent in it. In multi-wave encounters, you can set Yalter up for an explosive first turn against the boss. To do this, you pop Raiko, Lancelot, or the NP of another star-generating servant. This clears the wave and gives you a huge surplus of stars. If you get a good hand, you pop Yalter's first and third skills and crit the hell out of your victim. If you don't, you've got 2 options. Either you can Tauropolos to force a chain, or use your AoE servant's standard cards. Both Raiko and Lancelot are powerful crit attackers in their own right, and if Nekopara slacks off, they'll get the job done. As for your support casters, the usual suspects apply. All of the crit supports are fair game, though depending on your craft essences, you'll likely find yourself leaning towards Waver or Scotty. Amadeus was on my template, but he's more of a niche pick, like for fights where you start on the boss wave, or something where you can reliably pull him from the backline. In either case, you really want to taunt CE on him. Yalter's third skill has a 3-turn crit buff, and you can build a team around exploiting its whole duration. Summer BB locks your current hand for 3 turns, and if you get a Nekopara Brave Chain, she becomes a blender that generates enough stars to keep herself going. BB naturally fits with this playstyle with passive star generation, and if you put 20-30 on your support caster, you're good to go. Summer BB teams can be a bit jank because sometimes the game just fucks you with card RNG, and you never get a Brave Chain. That said, BB herself is a strong crit attacker, and this gives you a backup in case Lady Luck decides today is a dick flattening day. If you have the right starting charge CEs, you can run this spicy little number. Both Atalanta and Yalter are evil aligned servants, so Moriarty's attack buff roids them both up. Green Sita generates a huge number of stars with her NP, and this serves 2 purposes. Firstly, it gets you the right number for Moriarty to pop his 50% battery. Secondly, it sets up Nekopara to rip and tear with crits. Both cats have the same party quick buff, so depending on your needs, you have flexibility as to when you deploy them. Now there's one huge logistical problem we gotta talk about. How does Moriarty land this pair of Shotacons? The answer is that crusty old James Moriarty doesn't. But through the power of Live 2D, he becomes the marketable VTuber Moriarty. It's foolproof. For craft essences, starting charge is your big priority, followed by quick, crit damage, and attack buffs. To this end, I highly recommend Knights of Marines as your first choice. If you have a limit broken Kaleidoscope, that can get you an extra noble phantasm in Scotty setups. Other notable picks include Midsummer Moment, Golden Sumo, Dumplings Over Flowers, After Party Order, Antumbra, Summertime Mistress, and Wolves of Mibu. Some of these are Buster Quick Hybrid CEs, which work fine with Yalter's 2Q2B deck. So how is Yalter? Pretty damn good. Quick servants are going to see a dramatic power spike in a few months, and Nekopara is in a great position to exploit Scotty's power. Her boss killing strength is ridiculous between her NP seal and crits, and the best part is that she can do all this shit at abysmal skill levels. Longtime viewers know that I'm a real lazy fuck when it comes to skills on my JP account, but despite this, I could just throw Nekopara in my problems and things just disintegrate. She's a real sledgehammer of a servant. You pound shit with Yalter until something breaks. Of course, the problem is that as a berserker, there's a good chance that something is her. Yalter Scotty can lock an enemy out of their NP for a few turns, but that doesn't mean you get to keep her evade for the very end. Enemies in upcoming content can be quite brutal with their crits, and as a glass cannon, Yalter needs a fair bit of babysitting, maybe even some resets coming. That said, the upsides are well worth the trouble. Nekopara is a very potent attacker, and she does serious work even with minimal investment. Would recommend. Oh, one final note. There's a challenge quest in the coming New Year's event, and it features a number of enemies with card type resistances. One of these is an assassin only weak to quick cards. And as you may have noticed, we have a grand total of 0 casters with quick NPs, leaving Yalter as the prime candidate that balances effective damage with deployment cost. Yeah, you've got Meld and some 5-star Zerks that work, but your deployment is going to be pretty tight. Something to keep in mind. And that's all I've got. Shout out to Soma, who I commissioned as the thumbnail artist for this video. Link to his Twitter below. That said, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more, and come watch me on Twitch where I stream every weekend, Friday through Sunday at 3 PM Pacific Time. See you there.